Welcome to Dealing with Feelings and Karen Porter and Dr. Jim Porter's weekly podcast and YouTube video called Dealing with Feelings and Feelings Friday. We are going to talk today about pride.
Pride.
Pride and its importance in building courage. So,
All right.
and it's interesting because the thing that's going on right now in the news media about the Sandy Hook massacre, I didn't realize that there was this one woman called Scarlett Lewis who started this whole social emotional learning curriculum called Choosing Love. And I think it's a wonderful concept. And I think our concepts kind of fit together tightly with hers. So,
what is Choosing Love about?
pardon me, it's about
What
a curriculum for K through 12 to help kids get in touch with their feelings and be more loving to one another. And what I'm gonna do right now is show you my most recent book, get your feedback on that, and on pride, and then try to relate that to their Choose Love pledge that they have for that curriculum and see what we come up with, because I have some very deep questions for you about those big feelings of courage and forgiveness and all of that kind of stuff, because those are complicated. Anyway, so let's start with pride, because pride is pretty easy. I think we'll find out.
We'll see.
Pride, I think I think your family and my family are really good with that in terms of the way we've raised our kids to feel proud of themselves.
Perhaps. But yeah, let's talk about pride itself.
Yeah, so pride can be, you always hear like in the Bible or whatever, it's, oh, pride, pride is the evil thing because it's being prideful or whatever. But then I think there's healthy pride and feeling it's like confident, but it's a little bit different than confidence. It means that you are proud of what you did.
Well, I mean, I guess we got to say, what does proud mean?
What does proud mean?
Well, I was going to ask you because you said pride means being proud of what you did. I guess you're saying there's another kind of pride that,
Well,
or maybe not. Maybe you're saying that pride is okay.
but there's two kinds of proud. It's like he's too proud, or I'm proud. You can be proud of somebody. And I think that's what's really important for parents to do, is to be proud of their children, because I think that's what helps them develop confidence. So I think the word pride in the Oxford Language Dictionary, it's a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from the qualities of possessions that are widely admired.
Okay.
So I think in the positive sense, it's what we need to set goals and plans for a future. It's like, oh, I'm proud of my ability to do art, like Cole might think that. And then, well, what can you do with that art? You should be proud of it, and I don't know. What
Well, no, I'm just saying pride, maybe like all emotions, um, has well, maybe pride is special, or it belongs in a category. Maybe it's not special, but it belongs in a category of, like you've already said, emotion that has been maligned and is also encouraged. You're supposed to be proud to be an American. You're supposed to be proud to be a man, proud to be a woman. That is like, I think, just connotatively, it's almost like you're trying to make a sauce, and maybe like being proud of who I am, being proud of my efforts, um, that has a certain flavor to it. And then if you add enough of some ingredient, like Tabasco or salt or something like that, it could turn into that sort of so proud that you protect your self-esteem too much. Like as if you're using pride to say, um, like what's the negative? What's like how would you define pride that people think of as negative? Arrogant. Did you say you might have said arrogant at
Yeah,
the
arrogant. Yeah, and according to the Bible, it's the sin of pride is an excessive preoccupation with self and one's own importance,
that's not a quote from the
achievements,
Bible,
and status.
but yeah, so that's the kind of thing I think I'm talking about. Like this, we could talk for about 2 hours on this, but to begin with, if it's about what you've accomplished, some of that was, I think, in my opinion, in all situations, your efforts are something that you generally are considered to be something you can control, how much effort you put in. The outcomes of your effort are not completely in your hands. So a sense of normal, rational humility would say, I mean, I'm not dictating this, but in my book, for me, I'd want to say, well, I feel really good that the outcomes went in my direction. I'm very proud of my efforts, but I can't claim credit for the outcomes. I think of the casino concept. Life's a casino, but it's not as bad as real casinos. In life, you put in your effort, you roll the dice, and sometimes things come out in your way. So yeah, there are two different kinds of pride. Being proud of who you are, what you are, I don't think that's ever wrong, you know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's very important. And I think I have done parent-teacher conferences where I've seen children sit there and draw a beautiful picture for their mother, hand the picture to their mother, and the mother just slam it on the table and say, "Sit down." And I was like, "Wow, now I know why this child is having problems in school because the parents aren't showing their child how proud they are of them." And
Right.
sometimes that's one of the processes of writing when you write a piece and then you read it back to somebody.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's
Pride
so
and shame might be considered, I'm not sure about opposites, but but sometimes opposites, sometimes part of a dyad where some people talk of shame being a good thing. I actually don't really agree that shame is usually a good thing. I would say out of 100 times, maybe once shame is a good thing. If you really did something bad and you're really feeling shameful about it,
and this is a really good point because I think shame and humility are in the same genre, but
Mhm.
humility is like you can still be proud of yourself and be
Right, and be humble. That's right. You can be proud of your co-equalness with all humanity, or all of life. That to me, pride based on equality, like I'm just as good as everybody else, and I'm no better than anybody else. That doesn't feel bad to me. That feels nice. I'm just
And
like
this is why, there's generational pride, there's generational humility, and there's generational shame.
hmm.
And so we really need to look at this really carefully, all of these basic emotions and not basic emotions, and really teach positive views on and how to experience them socially. So here we go. This is an example.
Okay, real quick. Defensive pride is a good name for things. I learned the word defensive egotism when I was doing my research on am I still in the picture?
Yeah, yeah, you're there.
I just thought, I can't, I think my screen looks different than yours.
Oh, wait, I'm
Anyway,
doing something wrong here. There we
defensive
go.
egotism is something they actually measured in school kids to figure out if someone who looked very confident was truly confident.
Mhm.
They asked him questions that correlated with what they called kind of a scared veneer of pride. So someone who's walking arrogantly and haughty, um, and has defensive egotism might be more likely to bully someone, I believe. I haven't read the literature.
Wow, this is big
There's,
then.
yeah, so if
Pride
someone
is
has
huge.
so if someone has regular, normal, good enough self-esteem, that's usually, when I was reading the research back then, as I can recall it, associated with good behaviors.
You know, we
Uh,
had this one little boy, I won't give any names, but he was having such a hard time in school, and the guidance counselor and the principal were really awesome professionals, and they taught his mother to look into the mirror and say 10 good things about herself every day because she couldn't say anything good about her own son. And then
mm,
after that, the social worker said, now you need to say 10 good things to your son about your son every day. And the
nice.
social worker knew that the mother couldn't do this without looking at herself in the mirror and being positive.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So I think you could probably find a bipolar, like a two-polar aspect for each emotion,
Yeah,
and pride is a very good one to do that with. So
pride and shame.
what's your story say so far?
Okay, here we go. This is such a fascinating topic. I'm sorry. Well, here we go. Let's share screen. Oh, there we go. Can you see it okay?
No.
You can't see it?
I see a line. Oh, I feel proud when I can swim. I
Yeah.
don't see anything that says that, but I just feel that way. Okay, I see it
So
right
there
there.
in the picture, there's a little, well, it's gonna be a little monster swimming in the pool with their coach. That's what it's
Groovy.
gonna be.
All right.
Beautiful blue waves of water. And of course, this book is going to be with Friends Who Feel, Ada, Ben, Cal, Deb, and Ed. And they are going to take some swimming lessons.
All
Here they
right.
are all
All right.
sitting on the edge of the pool, ready to take swimming lessons.
Noise. Noise.
And the coach is in the water and he
Uh,
says, I don't know if I should make him Mr. J. Likes
I
to,
mean, does he really like to swim?
yeah.
Or
He
does he
said,
just do
jump
it
in.
to earn a buck? I'm kidding.
So they all jump in.
Oh, boom. They grew up too. Wow. I know this
Well,
is,
okay, so what I
your
did,
audience may not know when they first see your videos that you make books and that we're talking about some concepts behind the books. And then these are the sort of the original storyboards for your animated books. I think like a lot of
yeah.
people.
So here's a picture. Right now, it's a picture of a bunch of people, grown-ups,
Mhm.
jumping into a swimming pool. But
That's
they will be little kid monsters when I get done with them.
groovy, groovy.
So these are just art suggestions. And Mr. J said, hold on to the side. And they held on to the side.
So far, good swim instruction practices.
Yeah. Mr. J said, now we're going to do the deep end test. You must tread water. Mr. J showed them how to tread water. Uh-oh. Here's the problem. As you can
Oh
see,
man,
I know. Poor Cal.
that's
Cal is
Cal.
having a bad day. Well, he doesn't, you know how thin Cal is.
Yeah, so he
He's
doesn't
one of
buoy
those
up,
kids that
right?
doesn't
Yeah,
float. He just sinks.
yeah.
So they all treaded water except for Cal. Cal
Oh, well,
said, I am afraid to tread water.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah. Mr. J said, I will catch you.
Oh, okay, that's reassuring.
Okay, Cal said. Then he treaded water.
And looked right at the camera. Oh, look at those kids.
Mr.
Now we
J,
have to swim from here to Ed. Oh, from here to here. And then I guess there's a period. Ed, Deb, Ben and Ada said, I will
Try.
try.
Right. You
Okay,
can't see that, but that's what it says.
that's all right. Again, everybody, this is before the first draft of the book. Yes, I will try, Ed said. Mr. J said, go one at a time. I will catch you if, etc., etc., etc.
If you need me.
Have any trouble, yeah. They all went except for Cal. Cal said, I'm afraid. That's understandable, Cal. That's understandable.
Isn't that the best picture?
I mean, I guess I would hate to rank the other. I don't, okay. They all said, you can do it, Cal. That's nice supportiveness. Cal said, okay, I will try to swim from here to here. Cal tried. He got scared. Mr. J said, it is okay to try again. They all tried and tried until everyone swam from here to here.
Do you think it should be here to there?
I think it should be from here to there, or something. And like, you want a guy, somebody pointing, at least the first time or each time or
Yeah.
something. Swim from here to there, and then they could just say, I'm going to swim there, or because you're trying to keep it from being like swim to the post or swim to the opposite end of this aqua
I could
continuum.
have two little flags in it and put on one flag say here, one flag say
Oh
there.
yeah, that would be cute. Yeah, that's actually funny. Even the parents might laugh.
That would be really cute, wouldn't it?
We just thought of an idea together.
Oh
Okay.
no, we had an idea.
No.
Okay, so they all tried until everyone swam from here to there. Okay,
All right.
I like that so much better.
Cal said, now I feel proud when I can swim in the deep end. That's nice.
I think everyone does.
I guess I wouldn't dictate it to everyone. I'm not a
Oh.
mind. Cal's mom said, I feel proud of when you learn to swim. But yeah, I mean, it's probably something people feel.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Who's that guy?
I don't know.
Is he like gonna fix my car?
He's he's a stock photo.
Hi, I'm a stock photo. I feel proud. Cal's dad. Oh, it's Cal's dad, who also doubles as a stock photo. Cal's dad said, I feel proud of you when you learn to swim too. I feel proud.
I wonder if they'll take this out. I don't know.
What? Who's take what out?
Well, is that allowed? Are you allowed to use stock photos?
I think if you give people credit or something like that, I don't know.
Okay.
But oh, you're saying for this video?
Yeah.
I mean, if you get to the point where you attract somebody's attention enough for them to ask you to take the stock photo out, that means you get yourself a very nice big, podcast. So
We shouldn't be talking about this.
this is important for the kids to understand.
Okay. It
I
is.
feel very
Plagiarism is
proud.
wrong, and you should feel shame if you're
I
doing
feel
it.
very proud when I provide appropriate credits for all the stocks you stock. Never mind.
Oh wait.
What
Anyway,
about the people
Cal's dad.
listening to your audio podcast? Should we
What?
describe?
Yeah, he's in a jean outfit and he's got his hand on his chest and he's smiling
he's
like
doing a big
and
beaming smile.
big smile. You've
And he's
seen
got
it.
letters and numbers all over his. If I didn't know any, but never mind. All right, we're good.
But
Yeah,
he's proud of his child. And that's what makes a good parent, I think, part of it.
I'm proud of Cal too.
I'm proud of our child. I'm very
proud.
proud of our child, I really am.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I mean, but Mr. J said, I feel proud of all of you for learning to swim in the deep end. That's great. There's a lot of repetition necessary in these books, right?
Yeah, it's really good for the kids to repeat.
Yeah. Because,
Okay, so here we go. This
and then
is
we choose love. Was that
okay, this is the end of this for now. And I'm gonna develop pride and talk about the importance for parents and teachers to celebrate the accomplishments of children. and
Yeah.
for children to celebrate their own achievements because I think without that, you're not, even with kids that might not achieve as much as other kids, I think it's really important to look at what they have done because I think they will have that. That's the biggest scaffolding you can provide for a child's learning and confidence in the future.
Mhm.
When they
Um,
realize they've achieved something.
uh, yeah. I mean, I think that's something. I think the big important thing to me about the book is that in certain places and certain cultures, the concept of pride has exists, and definitely in our culture, the United States culture, it's probably the test case for social science studies of pride. Maybe I don't know other countries. Maybe Germany's that way too. Um, but it's just like we tried to express at the beginning. Pride can mean a lot of different things. It can be very complex, and it's a tricky concept to handle. And for kids to be able to learn the vocabulary of the emotions of our culture is going to can be a make or break thing for these kids if
Yeah.
they don't know how to discuss. In fact, the genius, in my opinion, you owe me $50 for saying that, of these books. No, I'm kidding. The brilliance of these books is people learning emotional vocabulary at this age puts them way ahead of the game. It makes it easier for them to understand other people. It makes it easier for them to make themselves understood to other people, especially in the context of our language and the emotions that are experienced in sort of North and South American culture. Well, North, Central, and South American culture. But on top of that, if they get a jump start on their own culture's vocabulary of emotion, which is not happening, that's not
Yeah.
something that's going on at this age, or even a few years later, or even in high school, really. That means that they can become, they'll have a foundation to leap off of when they want to go to talk to people who have very different experiences of emotions, because they've got the foundation of understanding emotional language. And then they can start to recognize emotions from other cultures and that kind of thing, making them very much more flexible, very much more marketable, and just very much personally stronger, because they'll be very savvy of the various uses of an emotion like pride. Pride is what we were saying when we were going to war during the George W. Bush years, because we had just been attacked. And pride is also that warm, fuzzy feeling when a mom says, "I'm so proud of you." Those are two very different concepts. So I'm
But
glad
I
you.
think there's something that happens like when we went to karate practice with with Cole and when
Mhm.
we would have, they would win a new belt
Yeah, yeah.
and it was an accomplishment and an achievement and it made them feel good about themselves.
Hmm.
And I think there's a direct correlation to kids who feel like they have an accomplishment and an achievement that they can achieve more in school.
Hmm. And I
And
think that, I'm sorry.
yeah, so I think parents need to ask themselves, what are you proud of your child? And
Mhm.
children need to ask themselves, what are they proud of for themselves?
Yeah. I think there's two constructs of, say, self-esteem. And one is comparative self-esteem and non-comparative self-esteem. Non-comparative self-esteem is like what I said before. I'm just as good as anybody. I'm just as good in some way, whatever that mystical, abstract way. I am just as worthy. I am just as good as anyone else. Comparative is I'm better than this person, but worse than this person. I'm more worthy than this person, but not as worthy as the other person.
Okay, I have a
Uh,
question for you in
I'm
this.
fairly confident that the comparative self esteem And the comparative pride gives you room to beat yourself up, where the equality-based sense of pride doesn't give you room to beat yourself up or beat others up.
So how do I, because Cal is different than the other ones just go ahead and do it, but Cal is struggling here.
Right. And so it might be too complex for the kids, but the concept that I can be uh, like equally good in a different way, or that there's something positive. Like, for example, some people say don't judge a person by their accomplishments, but by their struggles, or don't judge a person by their accomplishments, but by their obstacles. So this is a rationalization, but again, all this stuff's made up anyway. Achievement, self-esteem, worthiness, these are all just human constructs. So if we're going to make the healthiest ones, the ones are in some way, somehow, I'm equally worthy to others. That's generally the case, and it's generally honest to say that. I would say that we probably have some people who are extremely deranged and violent and evil, that's very difficult to talk in that way about them. But just generally,
Yeah.
you can
I
say.
think this is really when I remember, award ceremonies and going to them and like sitting there thinking, oh my God, I hope Christy gets one.
I know.
And then
So, yes,
sometimes there are times where teachers are just not aware that you need to find something.
there's an issue too, because I definitely believe in that. If we're clever enough and educated in this enough and smart enough and strong enough and care enough, we will actually find what that little gemstone inside of each person is. Um, but I do understand people's like concern about giving everybody first prize. Everybody gets a ribbon. You know what I mean? I get
But
that.
yes, but I still think that as an educator, you need to teach every child that they are gifted. Not that they're all gifted in math, not that they're all gifted in reading or writing, but they might be gifted in picking the most yellowest flowers on the block.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They might be gifted in noticing where the bugs are in the classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
had
know.
I had a student like you'd be sitting there in reading time and he couldn't concentrate, but he would always be like looking up and he'd say, Miss, there's a spider right up there.
And he was into it. Like it
He
was
was
really cool.
totally
Yeah.
focused.
Meet our entomologists, and our
Yes.
I'll say this too: the cold, cruel, dry bones ecological concept is that everything is part of the system. So no matter how stupid an organism looks to you, like a dung beetle, or I mean, nobody, but you know what I'm saying. In fact, I think entomology is like taking off. I keep finding kids that are just fascinated by bugs, and they're going to go to college to try to be an entomologist.
Wow.
But we do have this judgmentalism that does not make sense according to, cold, rational, ecological biology. Everything that's in the ecosystem somehow got here, and natural selection has not yet selected that out.
Yeah. And there's a reason.
So, yes, exactly. So, if we know that if we got rid of all the roaches, something bad would happen. I'd still want to try to do it, but if we got rid of all the roaches,
Yeah.
the world might end. I
So
just
I think I want to summarize this because you kind of hit the nail on the head with me and I couldn't think of the words until you said it. Was the difference between comparative uh and non-comparative pride.
comparative pride and non-comparative pride.
And that's what we really need to look at. Maybe there's a place for comparative pride
Hmm.
when we have, a spelling bee and who can spell the most words
Hmm.
correctly. Yes. I'm not saying getting rid of spelling bees,
In
but
fact,
I'm
I
saying
can.
don't leave any child out because every child in your classroom has a gift.
Right. And there are some times that I wish I was that kind of a person with the mentality that if I lose 100 spelling bees in a row from my first one to my 100th one, I'd still feel raring to go for the next one. You know what I mean? I would love to be that way. And
That
that
would be
means,
me.
what's that?
Not gonna be me.
I'm not that way. I can't lose a bunch of times and still feel like I'm ready for the next one. But that's a tremendous gift to have. And
Yeah.
then, so what is the definition of a loser? I don't think that's the definition of a loser. That's the definition of someone who hasn't been willing to stop trying to
Somebody
win.
who never gives up. So,
Yeah.
okay, so in the context of all this, there is um, this Choose Love
Mm-hmm.
curriculum
Mm-hmm.
written by a lady named Scarlett Lewis. Scarlett Lewis is the mother of that, I think it was Jamie Lewis, who got killed by the at Sandy Hook. And so you can't imagine, I can't imagine how devastating that would have been to have your child killed at the age of 6. And she had a choice at that moment. Was she going to be hateful and try to get vengeance? Or was she going to choose love and figure out a way out of her pain? And I'm sure she still feels pain. But the formula, she says that the neuroscience shows that if you have courage and gratitude and forgiveness and compassion in action, and you choose love, you will be better off. Now, I I believe that is probably true, but for a first grader who first comes to me and I've never seen him before, I'm thinking, wow, how do I get them to even choose courage or gratitude? I mean, those things are taught, or even forgiveness or compassion. Those are habits that
Yeah.
you don't just choose them,
Yeah.
they
We
have to be
right.
taught.
Yes. And right. And so again, that's the whole idea, the whole vocabulary. We have impossible to count sensational experiences in our bodies be- just because of our biology. And when we start to name them and share those names with other people, then we can connect and people can understand each other.
And I
Um,
commend her for putting this forward. And I
yeah.
haven't looked at all the lesson plans, but I did look at the pledge to choose love every day, which I think is a fantastic pledge, and I will choose it.
Mm,
Um, and it says, I will find the courage to be grateful when life is not easy, to forgive myself and others, to cut the cord that attaches me to pain, and to step outside of the busyness of my life to help others. That is how I will choose love and embrace the empowering lesson that is my choice. So that's just the first third. And
so
if we break that down, I'm like sitting here going,
that's a
okay,
lot right there. Even the
I
one about
have people that it's taken me years to let go of the pain that they've caused me.
mhm.
And
Right, right, right. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a great choice, but I think
That's something that might happen 50 years of effort to allow some pain to go when the pain is ready to go, you
yeah,
know.
it's like the difference between Kim Ledford in the book Live Life Wide Open,
Hmm.
and then another friend of mine who Kim lost her son,
Hmm.
and she had a choice between um, going forward and being angry every day or turning that terrible thing that happened into a life mission. And she chose to go out and she speaks to Mothers Against Drunk Driving people, people who got DUIs, to schools, and she speaks and speaks and speaks about how a drunk driver killed her son. And she wrote a book about it. And she created a nonprofit corporation and a golf tournament that she fundraises for to give scholarships to young people. And therefore, the meaning of her son's life is always with her and will continue on past the time she no longer is alive.
Mhm.
And so I think the gratitude and is so important and helping others is so important, but it doesn't just I think you can still be loving after loss or trauma.
Yeah, another thing humans do is they do a formal totem or token of things like emotions, which is one way of showing it without having to attempt to artificially summon up an emotional experience. So if you are grateful, but you're not like feeling glowing with gratitude, you give someone a thank you card, you give them a kiss on the cheek and say thank you. Those are rituals that we do because you can't always be feeling it, but you do mean it when you do it. That's one reason I think religions have rituals. That every single week they go do some of the same things, and it's to communicate something that's not always present in a felt way, but can be. Sometimes can even be cultivated a little bit by the expression thereof. You know, so
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think a child who hasn't been loved, it's hard for them to choose love instead of hate.
In fact, I'm going to say for my own purposes, sometimes an emotion is a sensed experience, and sometimes an emotion is a communicated concept. I am grateful.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just feeling that gratitude. You're just feeling that pride. You're feeling that love. You're feeling that compassion. Sometimes you're just feeling it, and sometimes you're showing it. Like sometimes you're showing it where nobody can deny it. And sometimes you're just knowing that the right way to be about it is compassionate or grateful or empowered or full of pride. So you say, I'm proud, even though you might be exhausted. Because,
Yeah.
so there's a lot to this emotion stuff now that you bring up these concepts.
Yeah, and this whole pledge where she says, "Right now and every day, I will choose to replace an angry thought with a loving thought." I don't know if I can always do that.
Right, right, right.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
it's a
understand.
funny mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that things are going to happen in life and I cannot control. That I cannot control, but I can control how I respond to those things, and that's what matters.
Yep.
And that I think is the key right there, is that, you know, you have the emotion, then you stop and you say, "What can I do?"
Hmm.
And then you say,
Hmm.
you can breathe and you go through the list and then you think about what you're gonna do. You make a choice. And I think that's what these books that we're working on, instead of telling people how to think, we're showing them how these monsters are thinking and how
Yeah.
these monsters are acting in appropriate ways.
Hmm.
And I think that brings it down to a level. And I think it also had, even for me as a illustrator and writer of this series, I think it's helped me go and think about these feelings in a deeper way.
Yeah. I think one of the important things for me is the fact that there is uh, some of these, there's something for the teacher or the parent to prompt them to chat with the child about the emotion and the situations. You know,
And we can't control. That is the gist of this. I mean,
yeah. I think
we
trying to control your emotions is winds up showing that you can't always control your emotions.
yeah,
You know. All right, this was a good one.
I think so. And I think always, always be proud of the ones you love for the wonderful things that they do. And remember, feelings aren't right or wrong.
They just are. That's that's clever. That's going to turn into a big famous thing. Bye bye.
I, oh,
I'm so proud.
I'm proud of you.